Okay, so this is my vlog for the Civil War Part 1, Episode 3 of The Legend of Korra, which premiered a couple days ago, and of course I had to wait for it to be uploaded. First thing I'm going to talk about, and I mention it because it's really the only problem I have with the episode. I think the episode as a whole is quite good, and that is Mako is the last person who should be giving relationship advice to anyone, especially Bolin. Uh, I mean, Mako's going on and on about how, man, sometimes you gotta rip the leech off, let it bleed out, let it scab over it. And I'm just like, no, Mako. You don't get to talk to Bolin about relationship issues. Not after what you did. Go sit in the corner and think about it. Not that is a bad scene or anything. It's just weird to see Mako doing it. Although, I will say, I am liking Mako a lot more thus far this season. He has some good moments with his brother, and we see him really, trying to work on his relationship with Korra, which is something that, a lot of movies and shows don't go into, or at least they don't go into well. Korra says to him at one point, "I don't know what to do. What should I do?" And he says, "Okay, do you want me to listen, or do you want my honest opinion?" And that's good. They're taking the time to delve into the need to communicate in a relationship, which is a topic that a lot of, especially shows that are action shows, would not bother with. But they're doing it here, and I like that. So there's two main parts in this episode. There's the continuing political coup thing in the South, and then Tenzin and his family at the Southern Air Temple. I'll talk about that last because that's my favorite part of the episode. So the South, Unalaq is still cementing his control, and this is creating a lot of resentment in the South. And Korra learns from her mother that this is something that's been going on since before she was born, which I like because it's a circumstance where, unlike with Book 1, where the objective was very clear, get to Amon, beat Amon. And even in The Last Airbender, where the objective was just get to the Fire Lord and beat the Fire Lord. This is a long, simmering social/political/cultural dispute, and there's no one person she can beat up that will fix this problem. So if she's to be the Avatar, she has to figure out how to solve some problems without being aggressive and punching everything. And she realizes that. We see some scenes where she really realizes that, and she tries to play the peacemaker. It doesn't go very well. And there's now talk of a rebellion brewing, which I think is where the Civil War thing is going to come from. Apparently being led by the business guy. I still don't have his name down. I'm not going to look it up. He's good. He's a funny character. He seems to be leading or organizing a rebellion now that tries to capture Unalaq, but Korra happens across it and stops it. And really good action scene, very well done, very creative in how she stops them without really hurting them. And what was really great about it was the whole time she thinks her dad is in on it. The whole time she thinks her dad is the one carrying Unalaq away. And you can almost hear the despair in her voice, please don't. She even says to him at the beginning, if you just drop him and leave him, nothing. I won't say anything to anyone. You can feel her desperation. And then when she finds out that her dad is not in on it, she's so relieved that she really tries to reconcile with her parents, which is good. We're seeing her grow. Hopefully, please. Then, of course, at the end, Unalaq arrests her parents anyway on charges of trying to assassinate him. Now, what we don't know yet, and so I assume that this is a part 1, so I assume part 2 will answer this. We don't know if this is just Unalaq going further off the deep end and assuming that his brother was involved in the plot. We don't know if Korra's father really was involved in the plot and he's just lying to her again. It doesn't look like that, but you never know. Or Unalaq deliberately fabricated the attack. I realize this is implausible, but maybe he fabricated the attack to have an excuse to arrest Korra's parents. That seems unlikely. It's probable just him going further off the deep end, but again, that's the big cliffhanger. We'll have to wait till next week to find out. Good episode. The fight scene was good, but I like how it's a quieter episode. It moves a bit slower. It sets a few more things up. We get a little bit more of Bolin and the weird twins. which was good. It was funny, but I'm hoping we do see some more. And it's funny. Bolin is still the comic relief guy, but I'm hoping we get a bit more, like how we got more with Sokka in The Last Airbender. No Asami. Fix that. I want my Asami. And I want her and Bolin to get together. Actually, Bolin has one great line where he says to Korra, "Why didn't you tell me your cousin would crush my soul?" And Korra's like, "I thought that went without saying." it's a fun little... We've never seen Korra interact with these two people, but that's a great line to sum up her previous interactions. Like, I thought it was obvious that she would crush your soul. So that part was good. And the really great part of the episode, Tenzin and his siblings at the Southern Air Temple. And we start to get the first hints of, maybe Aang wasn't that great of a father. Which is big because, a lot of shows wouldn't bother to do that, especially action shows where you have this big action hero. A lot of movies and shows wouldn't do that, wouldn't delve into maybe this great character that we've come to know and love wouldn't be that hot of a father. And, it starts when Tenzin says, "Oh, this reminds me of all the vacations we took as kids." And Kaya and Bumi say to him, "I mean the vacations you took as a kid." And that's a great little, oh, geez. And that it's just the beginning. There haven't been any big character defining moments yet, but we really start to get a sense of Aang might have shown favoritism to Tenzin. Kaya might have been a little too eager to leave home for most of her life. Maybe Bumi has tried way too hard to make up for the fact that he's not a bender, that he's the only one of a trio of children who can't bend. And how that create the conflicts between each other and between them and their parents. And we got touches of that in book one, but they're really delving into these family dynamics, and that's interesting. This is really interesting stuff. I'm really hoping we get more of it. Little side note, it's kind of scary how well the dynamics between the three of them mirror the dynamics between myself and two of my siblings. And it's kind of frightening how much Bumi reminds me of me. I'm going to grow up to be Bumi, everyone. I have no problem with that. Yeah, so let's see. What else can I say? I should mention, one of the kids has gone missing. They don't know why or where she's gone. We don't know how big of a serious thing this is, but that's the impetus for these three siblings going off to look for her, and that's where they get into expressing a lot of what seems to be really long, deep-held resentments. There seem to be a lot of resentment, old, long resentments coming out between the adults in the show, between Korra's father and her uncle, and then between Tenzin and Bumi and Kaya. And it's good. It's all really interesting stuff. So I'm happy. I'm excited to see where this goes. I can't think of anything else to say. There wasn't a whole lot. It was just one episode, not two, and it wasn't a particularly thick episode, whereas the first two episodes we got last week were both pretty big episodes. This was quieter. This was slower. But that's good. I want a little bit more breathing time in these seasons. And this season is going for 14 episodes, and not for 12 like the last one. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah. So, really good episode. And we shall see what happens next week.